Welcome to this week's video blog. Oh, I forgot to show off. I mentioned before on my YouTube channel, if you were following that I was going to cut my hair, and I cut my hair. It was down to my butt, but now it's at my shoulders, which is very, very nice. So, there you go. So for this week's video blog, we're gonna do a what to watch during Droughtlander video blog, and because I don't think we've gotten a season 4 premiere date yet, but I know it's a long way away, so it's gonna be a while. So I had done a few of these on the YouTube channel, but if you have seen my What Happened on YouTube video, then you'll know we're here on Vimeo now. And those videos, unfortunately, my video blogs, unfortunately, are gone. My Outlander videos, thankfully, I have saved to USBs. I have learned that lesson now with my video blogs, and will be saving these as well. So I had done what to watch during Droughtlanders for The Exorcist, for did I do Riverdale? I don't remember if I did Riverdale, but I'd watched season 1, and I still have to watch season 2 because I kept getting sidetracked by other shows. Because I remember like in the early 2000s was when the writer's strike happened, so there was all this shit reality TV going on. Some of them are still around, unfortunately. Don't even get me started. But good TV has come back in the last 10-ish years now. Thank you, sweet baby Jesus. And one of the things that has come back, we're now into reboots. Reboots of old TV shows that they've given new life to. So old shows like Lethal Weapon is back with new cast and updated and all that stuff. And the topic of this video is going to be the 2016 reboot of MacGyver. Y'all, they brought Mac back, and I cannot even with the awesomeness that is this show. I remember the original MacGyver with Richard Dean Anderson, and just I remember loving that show, mullet and all. It was awesome. That was some good 80s TV. So when I heard they were bringing it back, I was kind of like, meh? Because, okay, how were they going to recapture that awesomeness for mid-2016? Y'all, they did. They did. It's such a fun show. I cannot even. They tried to bring back the mullet. Poor Lucas Till. But they made it. The mullet in the 80s was sexy. Okay, Richard Dean Anderson's mullet in the 80s was sexy. That was the style then. Okay, fine. In the first season of MacGyver, the reboot, they made, yes, a sexy version of the mullet. It wasn't a mullet. It was a mull. They gave Lucas Till a mull. And this boy is so pretty that it still worked. It worked. I love he has shorter hair now. Fine, he's still pretty, but I miss the floofy hair. I miss the longer floofy hair. I do. I would not kick short-haired MacGyver out of bed for eating crackers, but I miss the floofy hair. So yes, the reboot, the 2016 reboot, totally works for me, and it's because the original spirit of the show has carried on. It's still there. And I would even venture to say, and don't stone me for this, that the cast feeling of it is better. Because yes, um, in the original it was Mac, and every once in a while you'd see his kooky best friend Jack, who got him into all kinds of trouble. And there was Thornton, who you would see every once in a while too. And they had like a few recurring characters. Murdoch, oh my god, we'll get to him in a second. But first, with the new version, like in the old version, Mac was pretty much like, yeah, a lone wolf who would go on, get into like all this kind of trouble and have to save the world, and like with like bubblegum and paper clips, and it was all awesome. That is still there. Like, you still get MacGyver doing his MacGyvering. I think that's an actual verb in the dictionary now. I think it's an actual thing in the dictionary now, which is kind of awesome. But you have this cast around him that the writing on the show is so good and the acting is so good that you care about the characters. It's not just Mac going from like case to case saving the world, which that is like the sort of the bones of what each episode is built around. But it's the relationships with the characters that are so rich and well done and well acted that you care about these people. I mean, I would watch Lucas Till and George Eads in a room doing nothing but talking and snarking and bantering with each other for an hour. I would totally watch that because they're just awesome. Now, George Eads plays Jack Dalton, who was played in the original by Bruce McGill, who had a cameo in one of the episodes in the reboot, and that was so cool. And his George Eads, who, oh, where were he was CSI? Was it CSI or Criminal Minds or one of those? I think it was CSI. He was on that for a while. And now he's playing Jack Dalton on the MacGyver reboot, which is awesome. And his chemistry with Lucas Till is just insane and so good. I don't remember if I mentioned that, yes, Lucas Till is playing MacGyver, and he's doing an amazing job. He is like this precious little lemon drop puppy who just wants to do good in the world, and he's so good, and he makes you root for Mac, and he has that same sort of core of do the right thing in him that Richard Dean Anderson had and brought to MacGyver, and I think he just embodies that so well. And his, watching him do his thing, his MacGyvering, and just watching him move around on in different scenes and stuff, he's so um competent. I mean, there's a thing in the romance novel industry called which is my evil, not evil day job, because I love what I do, but in the romance novel industry, when we refer to books, and we call it competence porn, where you're reading about these people doing their jobs and doing their jobs in the day-to-day life. Watching MacGyver and watching Lucas Till do his thing is like watching competence porn on screen rather than reading in a page. It's so good. So good. And I cannot imagine how much work it takes into doing a scene like that, where you're talking and you're moving around and you're grabbing this and that thing and you're working with so many props. I took theater in college. That's not easy. You would think that it's like, oh, it's like walking and chewing gum at the same time, or walking and talking at the same time. It's hard to like do your lines and build a phone out of like a radio, or like, build a bomb out of like bleach and baking soda. And sometimes he's explaining what he's doing, but which, oh, I miss the voiceovers. I do. I know that, like, Lucas Till was like, after I do my scenes or whatever, and on my days off, and he'd have to go in and do his like ADR for the voiceovers and that kind of stuff, and it was extra work for him. I understand. I do. But I miss the voiceovers. I do. They were a lot of fun. Um, so he is just amazing at embodying the character of MacGyver, and watching him is like watching the very best competence porn. Um, so yes, Lucas Till, props to you. Good. And he's not bad to look at either. Lordy. George Eads is so perfect as Jack Dalton. I cannot even. And this is going back a ways away, I remember George Eads from Savannah. I'd never seen CSI or Criminal Minds or whatever show he was on, but I remembered him from Savannah. I loved Savannah so much. It only lasted 2 seasons, but he was so good in Savannah. So I was very, very happy when he was cast as Jack Dalton. He's got Jack's swagger down. He's got like his, but he's still got Jack's sort of like bumbling. He's this odd mix of like swagger and bumbling naivete that is just how, I don't know how he does it, but it works so well. And his love for Mac is so like, and yes, I'm not surprised that people slash them together. Tumblr, you're a gift to the internet. um but in other ways, wow, Tumblr, you're screwed up. We'll get to that one in a second too. So George Eads as Jack, I love him. I love him. I love him so much. His chemistry with Lucas is insane. Like, it's so good. And just watching them in scenes together, again, like I said, I could just watch them in a room bantering and being snarky at each other for an hour and I'd be happy. I'm like, give me popcorn, and I want this in my eyeballs, please. Then we had Sandrine Holt as Thornton. A moment. I loved her as Thornton. I loved her character. I loved that they made Thornton a woman. And I loved her little she's very like stoic and very she was the perfect foil for Jack, who always had this sort of love to get a rise out of her kind of thing. And I loved her and her performance so much so that I was so mad when they got rid of Thornton. I did. I was so pissed off because I was like, Thornton was such an integral part of the 80s show. Like, why would you do that? I don't know what happened like behind the scenes, if it was like that Sandrine wanted to leave. Um, I remembered her from the Toronto show that she did. I'm from Toronto. If you don't know, that she did Once a Thief, and I loved that show with I don't remember what the dark-haired guy's name was, but the other guy was Nicholas Leah, who's a huge Canadian actor. So I loved her since then. So I was so happy when she was cast as Thornton, and she did an amazing job. And then, try not to spoil it for you guys. Then Thornton left for reasons that if you've seen the show, you know. So I was so mad. And then Maddie Weber showed up. Y'all, I love Meredith Eaton so much. I love her character. She's so like this hard shell, and again, competence porn. She totally like owns what she does and like is totally like competent at her job as their boss, and you see her doing her thing, but she's also a marshmallow inside. She loves these people under her, like it starts off with like she's got a little bit of a oh, what's the word, to contentious relationship with Jack that we don't exactly, or at the beginning we didn't exactly know what was going on. It was sort of a running thing of like, are we ever going to find out what the hell happened between these two? And I can't remember if it was specifically explained. I mean, it was kind of alluded to in the fact that like they talked and they got through it, but I don't remember what the issue actually was, if it was actually specifically explained or if they sort of left it ambiguous. But yeah, she has this relationship with Jack, which was very contentious. It's a little better now. And she's totally this mama bear to MacGyver and the other cast members. She's just, again, she's this strong, competent woman who, thank you, sweet baby Jesus, is not afraid to be like warm and loving to the people that she cares about, and she cares about these people who work under her. So she won me over. Meredith Eaton as Maddie Weber. She won me over. She's so good. I love her. I love watching her in scenes with the other cast members, with her team. Then we have Justin Hires, who is apparently a stand-up comedian in his other life, and he plays Bozer, who for the first, I think, half of the season has no idea what MacGyver does. He's MacGyver's best friend and roommate, and he thinks Mac just works for like a think tank, who like comes up with solutions for companies and blah blah blah. So that's what Bozer thinks Mac does. And as we begin the series, Bozer wants to be a filmmaker. So he's doing all this stuff with the prosthetics and all this jazz. And he's I would say the comic relief, which there's one thing about this show is that you know, you could say Jack's the comic relief too, because this show is so fun and action packed and so much heart, and it's funny as shit, y'all. Like, oh my god, it's so good. And a lot of that is provided by Bozer, played by Justin Hires, and Jack, George Eads. Um, so you know, then Bozer does find out what Mac does in the most traumatic way possible. He almost gets killed by somebody we were going to mention in a second. We'll get to him. Um, and then Bozer gets brought into the organization. So Bozer's one of them now. And we get the other half of my OTP, Bozer and Riley, played by Tristan Mays, who I adore. I love her Riley so much. She has a history with Jack because Jack dated her mom, and Riley had this very abusive father who we meet up later with, and who is played by Billy Baldwin, of all people. But it works. It works. Billy Baldwin, like, Tristan Mays looks nothing like the actress who plays her mother. Tristan Mays looks nothing like Billy Baldwin, but these two as her parents work. And that's just good acting, yo. So Riley was raised by her mother, and her father left. Her father was removed from the household by a one Jack Dalton, who had been dating her mother, and took care of her father by beating the crap out of him, because he was, I guess, trying to protect Riley and her mother. But Riley has, being raised in abusive, around abuse, she has a very hard shell around her. So as much as she loves Jack and loved Jack and wanted him as her father figure so badly, she was also very damaged. So she was a very difficult teenager and pushed Jack away, and so Jack did what she wanted and left, even though that wasn't what she wanted. And so Riley, you know, gets in with the wrong crowd, ends up going to prison. But she's a brilliant, goes to prison because she was trying to hack some government organization. I can't remember what it was right now, but she ended up in prison. And so when Jack and MacGyver lose their hacker, who also happened to be Mac's girlfriend, Nikki, who also happened to be a traitor, who also happened not to be a traitor, who also happened to be a CIA agent undercover, who also happened to reveal who actually was the traitor. Yeah, that was what? That was a whole what of episodes. So they need a new hacker, and Riley is brilliant, so Jack gets her out of jail, and makes the arrangement that she will come to work for them now. And I love Tristan May's chemistry with Justin Hires so much. I ship them so hard, because Bozer immediately hones in on Riley because Tristan Mays is beautiful. And he's like all over her, and she's like, you know, not giving him the time of day necessarily. But I have hope that they will end up together because I love them together so much. I ship them so hard. There are people that ship Riley with Mac, but you know, you do you. That's okay. I see more of brother sister vibe there. I don't see romantic chemistry. I see sibling chemistry there. Um, so okay, we got Mac, Bozer, Riley, um, Jack. So I think I hit the core four. Um, then yes, there was Nikki, who was like some deep cover agent who we thought had betrayed Mac, and but turns out that she hadn't. And I don't know how I feel about her. I don't know if I ship her with Mac or not, because I really like how they brought in Isabel Lucas as Samantha Cage, who they brought in as an agent as well. Um, and they brought her in for like a little while, and then something happened, which I'm not gonna spoil for you. So I don't know if she's coming back. I hope she does, because I sort of got a little vibe of a little something between her and Mac. So I don't know if she's coming back, but I hope she does. I remember Isabel Lucas from the Red Dawn remake with Chris Hemsworth, which if you haven't seen it, definitely see it. It was awesome. If you haven't seen it, definitely watch the original Red Dawn with Patrick Swayze and R.I.P. and Charlie Sheen. So definitely catch the original, catch the remake with Isabel Lucas. Um, so I hope she's coming back. Um, there's this there's this supporting cast member now, Jill, who Jack keeps getting her name wrong, and she's sort of like the girl Friday there who like comes in and like says, you know, this you know, oh, this happened, or this person's on the phone, or blah blah blah. And I really like her. I really like Jill, and I hope that she sticks around. They gave her a little more to do in a recent episode, which was a lot of fun. Her and Riley's father, played by Billy Baldwin, who comes back and is, you know, sober now and is trying to rebuild a relationship um, with his daughter. So he's sort of a recurring character. Um, Diogo Morgado, my my darling pork chop, fellow pork chop, Portuguese represent. Oh my God, he was in an episode. He was in a recent episode where he played a guy from Puerto Rico, and they were in Puerto Rico and trying to help with the hurricane victims. And he works in a bank, and the bank gets robbed, and he was so good that he gets shot. And there's this scene where Mac, he and Mac had been friends in the army together, and Carlos, Diego's character, gets shot, and Mac needs pepper to cauterize the wound, and Carlos is like, "What are you gonna do? You're gonna season my leg?" And I love that line so much. Um, and I heard that they're bringing him back for season 3, which, yay! Announcement: MacGyver has been renewed for season 3. Still waiting on The Exorcist to hear if they're getting renewed for season 3, but MacGyver has been renewed for season 3. I'm so happy. Yay, happy dance for me. Now, let's talk about a little someone who they brought from they also brought from the original, the character of Murdoch, played by David, and I'm so sorry, I'm going to butcher your last name, so I won't even try. I apologize. Okay, I'll try. Das Malkian? I'm so sorry. I love you. I love you as Murdoch. I'm so sorry. Who is so brilliantly creepy as, and yet entertaining as. Like, oh my god, this guy is insane, yet you want to watch him all the time. You can't look anywhere else when he's on screen. And again, Lucas Till is very pretty to look at. But when Murdoch is on screen, you're like, this crazy I cannot. And the original Murdoch in the 80s version, played by Michael DeBar, who had a cameo in the reboot, played, who did he play Murdoch's father? I don't think he played Murdoch's father. He played Murdoch's mentor, I think, who was trying to kill him. And there was that whole scene with like Jack and MacGyver, like the whole episode was like them like trying to keep Murdoch alive, which was such a mind f. But David's Murdoch is so good. I cannot even. He has this creepy factor, but yet, like I said, he's so entertaining. And his relationship with MacGyver is very, like, he says that, you know, he wants to kill MacGyver, and he's tried many, many times to kill MacGyver, but of course, he's MacGyver, so of course Murdoch doesn't succeed. And he likes to torture him and likes to play with him. But I don't think, and this is my own personal opinion, I don't think Murdoch will ever actually want to genuinely kill MacGyver. Because I think Murdoch, in some psychotic way, needs MacGyver and respects MacGyver. And I don't think he'll ever genuinely want to kill MacGyver. Oh, he'll kill everyone around MacGyver. But I think if it came down to it, I could be totally wrong, but this is just my own sort of interpretation of the way I've seen them in scenes playing out so far. I don't think he would actually do it. Because I think he needs MacGyver there. I think he has grown to need MacGyver. Now, the internet being what it is, and Tumblr being what it is, there are, of course, people who ship Mac and Murdoch together. Okay, that's a thing. I can, you do you. It's not as bad as those who ship Jamie and Blackjack from Outlander, because that happened, and that happens. The whole Blackjack raping Jamie. But like it's not that far out there for knowing the way the internet works, for people to ship Mac and Murdoch. It's the internet. So yeah, I love how David plays Murdoch. I love how each character plays those roles that were so set in the iconicness that was the 80s. I mean, MacGyver played by somebody other than Richard Dean Anderson? Like, how could you even fathom that? And yet, Lucas Till works because he's got that core of MacGyver in him. He's got that core of do the right thing, of he's got that brilliant kind of mind that yet is, but he's got, you know, like the naivete of of this young man who, because I think Richard Dean Anderson's MacGyver was a little more um, worldly and more hardened, which is not to say that MacGyver in the 80s was like this hard, you know, tough, you know, dude or whatever, but like Lucas Till looks like the kind of guy who would cuddle you in a blanket and feed you M&Ms. And yet, you know, save your life if you were like driving down like with like speeding car with no brakes with like paperclip and duct tape. He's got that innocence about him, and yet competence. So he's got that core. And a running theme throughout the whole show has been MacGyver trying to find his father. Now, I know that in interviews, Lucas has said that he hopes that they don't make Richard Dean Anderson his father. And his reasoning is because Mac doesn't have like the greatest relationship with his father abandoned him, and blah blah blah. So he would want Richard Dean Anderson to come and play his grandfather, who he had a good relationship with. But I think that can only be in flashbacks though, right? Because if I remember correctly, MacGyver's grandfather has died when the show begins. The grandfather's dead. So for myself, I would love it if Richard Dean Anderson played his father. I would love that so much. But in the end, it's not up to me. And I guess like I think Lucas can give his opinion, but I don't think it's up to him either. I think it's the writers and the producers who choose sort of like which way the storyline is going to go. So yeah, we're closing in on 40 minutes there. My what to watch during Droughtlanders always go long, so if you're new to me on Vimeo, I like to talk. So yes, what to watch during Droughtlander. Droughtlanders, we haven't had a date yet for the season 3 Outlander premiere yet, so we're still in that. Yeah, MacGyver, the 2016 reboot. They've been renewed for season 3, as I've mentioned. So Mac Drought is about to begin because I think the season finale is this Friday. And I'm one episode behind. The last episode I saw was the Diogo Morgado episode, which I don't remember if I mentioned. They're bringing him back for season 3 as another guest appearance, which makes me so happy. I really hope that they bring him on. And yeah, MacGyver has the same sort of feeling that you get with the Outlander guest stars who come on, and you're like, oh, the goat lady in Outlander, like, my goats need grass. Please, can we keep her? I want her to come back for Outlander. And, you know, it's like that sort of same kind of thing. Like, the casting is amazing. So, like, when the supporting cast people come on to the show, to MacGyver, you're like, oh, can they come back? Like, can we make Jill, like, a bigger part of the show? Can we just make this the hugest cast ensemble show ever because we love everybody? So yeah, MacGyver, 2016 reboot. Definitely recommend it. 2 seasons in so far. Will definitely help you get through Droughtlander. And that'll be it for this week's video blog. Follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/authorejamie. Like my Facebook page at facebook.com/authorejamie, and follow me on Tumblr for Tumblr related stuff. Tumblr.com/blog/Nancy777ca, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye!